Hello, my dear friends of Maricita Colors in English. Today I will make in knitting this beautiful scarf, shawl, stola that I made with the garter stitch. Look, the yarn is merino and I use 200 grams of this nice yarn. Here is one of the colors, is like brown, green, and this is like a little lila. I love this combination. I use the needles number 4 millimeters. I alternate the rows, but I made some rows with the same color for that notice the colors, the different colors. This garter stitch in Spanish is punto Santa Clara or punto Bobo. This is the knit stitch in the front and in the reverse. My scarf has 32 centimeters of wide and 1 meter 60 of long. This is a classic shawl that we must have in all the colors at home. You can use for summer, for winter, with cotton, with acrylic. The garter stitch make our threads a little tight, a little shrink. For this I use the needles a little bigger than my yarn. For the pattern I will use these two yarns. They are teeny yarns like my merino yarn. And I will use the needle number 4 millimeters. I will calculate dry stitch of 30 stitches. How I calculate the yarn? I will involve 30 times the yarn on my needle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 27, 28, 29 and 30 stitches. After this I let some centimeters and I catch in this point and I let free the yarn from the needle. So now I will make the cast on. How I will make the 30 stitches? I open the yarn and I insert the needle under the yarn. I bring the needle to the front and from the left to the right I bring the yarn on the needle and I will pull, not so tight, remember. Again, from left to right on the needle. Like this I will make 30 stitches. My scarf has 70 stitches, 70 puntos en español. "28, 29 and 30 stitches. We turn the knitting work and I will make only knit stitches. From left to right we insert the needle on the needle, we bring the yarn on the meter and we make the needle of the right catch the new yarn. We repeat. We insert into the stitch, we bring the yarn and the yarn stay on the right needle. This is the knit stitch. Like this I will repeat until that I finish the row. Knit stitch, punto derecho en español. Garter stitch, punto Santa Clara en español. The garter stitch is the knit stitch in the front and in the reverse of our work. Here almost I finish the first row of the knit stitch. From left to right we insert the needle on the stitch and here we finish. We turn the knitting work. For the front you can see the knit stitch and in the reverse you can see the purl stitch that are like knots. Now I will repeat the knit stitch until that we finish the row. From the second row, the first stitch I pass from the left needle to the right needle for that my border is uniform. And we continue making only the knit stitch. Knit stitch punto derecho. Purl stitch punto revés. Needles, agujas en español. Yarn, hilo en español. I finished the second row. I made only knit stitches. We pull a little and we turn the knitting work. And now I am in the front of my work because the yarn of the beginning is in the right side. But for the scarf you can use the both sides. Look the knots. This is the nice of this stitch. Here I will change the yarn. I will alternate, but if you want you can make with one color. Here I will use this rose color. And for that my border is good, I will make a trick. I will make 3 stitches with both colors, with the both yarns. I must see that the beginning of the yarn is in the left side. And here I will make with the both yarns, I will make the knit stitch, the second, and I will make the third two. After this I only use the rose color. Like this I will make more tight, will be more nice over thread. And from here only I will make one knit stitch until that we finish the row. Now I finish the row with the rose color, only I make one knit stitch in every stitch. We pull a little, we turn the knitting work, and now we have all the stitches with the rose yarn. Here only we repeat. The first stitch we pass to the right needle, and we continue making the garter stitch. Here almost I finished this row, and remember that I made dry stitches with both yarns. So I must make again the 3 stitches with both yarns for that the yarn is in the edge. So here I make only the knit stitches, and here I find the both yarns, so I pass the yarn into the back, the gray yarn, because I will make together. Again we make the knit stitch with both yarns. and I made the 3 stitches. Like this, our thread will be more secure. We turn the knitting work, and now I must make with the gray yarn. I will make 1 knit stitch, and in every stitch we repeat, we make the knit stitches. When I have 3 or 4 stitches here, I will pull and I will make a little loose. For that is not tight, for that our border is uniform. And we continue making the knit stitch. Here almost I finished this row. I only make the knit stitches. We turn the knitting work, and look, with this combination of colors is very nice. And again we make 1 knit stitch. In this border always I pass the stitch from the left needle to the right needle. In the other side always we must to change the yarns. So we continue making only 1 knit stitch. Here almost finished this row. I made only 1 knit stitch in every stitch. Here I pull a little always for that my border is uniform, and we turn the knitting work. Now I will change the yarns for the rows. The first stitch I make the knit stitch, and I will make 4 stitches before I pull a little for that my border is uniform. When I have 4 knit stitches, I pull the yarn and I make a little loose for that is our border uniform. And only we make 1 knit stitch in every stitch. We finish this row. I pull a little the last stitch and we turn the knitting work. And here only I pass the first stitch to the right needle. So like this you will make the rows that you want until that you have the length of your scarf that you prefer. And I show you how you change or alternate the yarns. Here almost I finished this row. We turn the knitting work. I am in the front of the work. And now I must make with the gray color. What happens if I want to make some rows with the same yarn? Like here in my scarf that I made some rows with the same colors. So here I will show you how I made. For this, you always must involve the 2 yarns, because if you don't involve, the another yarn will stay down. And again, when you make some rows, it will be a long yarn without the knitting. So if you want make only with 1 color, you must involve, and here I must make with the rose color, by example. The trick is always involve the yarn. So here I will use the another color, and I begin to make only the knit stitches. Before I pull the yarn, I make 4 stitches, and here I begin to pull and let a little loose. full and a little loose for that the border is uniform. Look in my scarf, how are the borders? Look this and the another. I don't or I can't recognize which border was where I changed the colors or the yarns. So it's perfect. You must make these tricks that I showed you for that you have the same. Now I will make some rows and I will come back for show you how you can calculate the stitches for make your scarf. Here I made some rows. I finished this row. I will turn the knitting work. Now I am in the front of the work. Now I will show you how calculate your stitches with your yarn and needles. For example, here I have 70 stitches and I have 32 centimeters of white. And I will show you how you must calculate. You must make a little pattern with your yarn and your needles and you will see how you can calculate. For example, here I have 30 stitches. 2 times it will be 60 stitches because my pattern has 30 stitches. And for this little part, I make over and I can count the stitches. Here I have 6 stitches. So with this yarn and with this needle, I must make 66 stitches for that I have the width of my scarf. So now I have my video advance where I show you how I finish my nice scarf. Here I show you my nice scarf. Look how are the stitches with this yarn merino and the needles number 4 millimeters. This is the nice garter stitch, punto bobo o Santa Clara en español. Look here, I will show you the yarns that I use for make this nice scarf. They are merino. And now for the front of the work, I will close the stitches. When the yarn of the begin is in the right side, this is the front of my work. To close the stitches, I will use always the knit stitch, punto derecho en español. The first stitch I pass, the second I will make the knit stitch, and the first will pass over the second, and the second stay on the needle. Again, one knit stitch, and the first pass over the second stay on the needle. Like this, I will close the 70 stitches. I almost finished to close all the 70 stitches, 70 puntos en español. I made one knit stitch and the first pass over the second. and I will make the last stitch. The first pass over the second, and we finish. Look, this is only the rest of the yarn. To close, I open the last stitch and I pass the yarn into this last stitch. You can cut the yarn if you have more yarn. You pass and we close. You push a little the stitch. And ready. I need almost 2 months to make this scarf. I make every night a little. Now I show you how to sew some yarns. With this needle I will start to sew. Every side can be the front or the back of our scarf. I will pass between the stitches. You don't must pull, remember. I will make a knot for that is more secure my thread, for don't open my thread. I will sew all the lateral, so all the row. And we have ready our beautiful scarf, estola, shawl, chalina, bufanda en español, that I made in knitting with the garter stitch con el punto Santa Clara. I used 200 grams of merino yarn and the needles number 4 millimeters. This is a nice scarf that all the people must have at home. You can make this scarf for summer or winter and you can use all the colors that you prefer. Before I finish my video, my pattern, I want to invite you to subscribe here on my channel, Maricita Colors in English. It's total free. Remember, activate the bell for that you receive the post when I have a new video here on my channel. You can find me too on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you very much to all the person that comment, share, and give one like to my video. We see us in my next crochet or knitting pattern. Chao, chao. Muchas gracias, amigos. Hasta la vista.